Tuesday, day 11 in the month of October 2022. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you had a restful weekend, restful holiday yesterday, and you are ready to get back to work to give it your 100%. All right, so this energy we're going to be starting off with this morning is coming off from a point of, I know you rested. Yes, I know you had time to rest. Yes, you might have had some other things to do in the house, but you had time to rest away from what your normal day will be like. So let's bring that energy on board this morning. My name is Esther Alarabi, and on the newspaper review, we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers, and we get to analyze them. All for national growth and development, because we want to see changes in all of these areas that we get to discuss about. So be part of the conversation. Send us your comments, your contributions on 070-317-56537, 070-317-56537 to be a part of the conversation this morning. You can listen live via the website at www.wfm917.com. You can also download the mobile app to listen live, WFM917. You can find us on all social media platforms at WFM917, and you can find me, Esther Alarabi, at Alarabi Esther across all social media platforms. So going into the headlines of the day, starting off with the Punch. On the Punch newspapers, we track 4 days, says freed train hostage. No problem with Nigeria's death profile, says Bagudu. Both accidents claimed 701 lives in 34 months. Flood hits 33 Imo communities, hundreds displaced. Navy destroys vessel arrested by Tompolo's men. Lagos seeks partnership with World Bank on housing. And on the Vanguard newspaper, we have the headlines: floods, 2 die in Kano incidents as death toll rises to 4 in Delta State. Confusion as over 20 hoodlums set ablaze section of Eze North local government area in Ebonyi State. Oil theft, Tompolo's men arrest captain and 7 others recover stolen crude oil. Deal sealed, ASUU strike over a matter of days, says Gbajabiamila. Non-inclusion of women folks, poor training responsible for non-payment of taxes in Ebonyi. This one is coming in from the Citizens. Both mishap reps to legislate on waterways safety and others. On this day newspapers, we have it: IMF urges Nigeria to address institutional corruption. Osibanjo says Nigeria has innate qualities to become digital economy global leader. Oil theft, Tompolo's firm, Navy sets seized oil bunkering vessel ablaze. Buhari seeks constitutional change for women in politics. Anambra Kogi residents, farmer count losses to massive floods. Really sad. Really sad. And we have this one: floods, 2 die in Kano incidents and death toll rises to 4 in Delta. On the Guardian newspapers, OPC commends Buhari over release of Kaduna train attack victims. US aid cross river empower orphans, others with skills and startup kits. Over 160 million persons living with mental health conditions in Africa, WHO confirms. That's a lot. Nigeria needs 7 trillion naira to get out of malnutrition, says expert. Budget deficits, operators fume as federal government borrowings undermine rail sector. On the Nation newspapers, flood kills 16-year-old boy in Bayelsa State. Tragic. INEC, parties cannot substitute candidates anymore. Kogi speaker in shock as assembly chamber gallery go up in flames. PDP is a party of termites, cannot return to power, says Tinubu. Wike and allies absent at Atiku campaign as Atiku campaign kicks off. ASUU strike to end in days, says Gbajabiamila and Falana. On the Daily Trust newspapers, 2 arrested for trafficking girls to Cote d'Ivoire. Police begin investigation on Abuja woman brutalized by police officer. 2 dumped babies rescued in Jigawa State. Experts have on new legislation against drugs counterfeiting. Then high BP Experts warns against high intake of salt. Don't tamper with area council's allocation. Group urges FCTA. And finally, on the pen pushing newspapers, All Progressive Congress accuses Dobela of working for Atiku ahead of the 2023 elections. And these are the headlines making the rounds this morning across different Nigerian newspapers. Be a part of the conversation. Send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. 070 317 56537. And today, October 11, is the International Day of the Girl Child. So we know already that when it comes to conversations around gender, everybody feels like, oh yes, they all have the same opportunity. Let's not look at it. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Look around you in the society. Look in the rural communities. These realities, are they really true? Is it true that we get to give the same opportunity? Girls and boys, think about it. You know the answer yourself. Look around. Look at the high rate of out of school children. We have more girls who are out of school. Girls get to suffer the brunt of, oh, you have to take care of your siblings. Let the boys go to school. When the boys are better, they get to take care of you. All of this conversation, and in some places, hear things like, oh, you'll be getting married very soon. Just you can stay out of school so they can take care of your brothers or send your brothers to school. So girls are at a disadvantage already when we get to talk about this thing. So this is another call for us to give girls the opportunity to maximize their potentials. Let us help them be all that they want to be. Let's stop all of this limiting barriers, all of this conversation, and all of these lies we get to tell them to make them stop believing in themselves. So we're being joined in by analysts for the morning. Live in the studio, we have Obideyi Olarewaji Obinko. Good morning, Obinko. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Esther. I'm very well today.
I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It was my pleasure.
All right.
It's my contribution to nation building.
Oh, yes. Everybody has a part to play, and here.
Oh, yes.
So now let's go into this one on the Punch newspapers. And this one says, Kogi Assembly fire. I suspect sabotage, says Speaker. So I saw a picture of this one, and I was just wondering, what is going on? So nobody saw this fire starting off till it got to this point, but this is Nigeria. Let's just go ahead into this one. The Speaker of the Kogi State House of Assembly, Matthew Kolawole, has blamed sabotage for the early morning fire that gutted the State Assembly complex on Monday. Now, this fire raised the hollow chamber of the Assembly, and this fire was said to have started in the early hours of Monday, and it continued till about 8 a.m. when a fire engine belonging to Dangote Cement Obajana arrived to extinguish the fire. Now, according to him, he cannot specifically say who might have been responsible for this fire outbreak, but they're just going to wait for security operatives to conclude their investigation and give more details on this one. Meanwhile, a senior member of staff of the Assembly who did not want his name to be mentioned said this fire might have come from an explosive planted by somebody within the facility, as only an explosive can cause a crack in the wall. And now I'm just wondering, how is it that anybody would just set out to just go set fire on the facility? What exactly is going on? Because I was trying to read through comments on a particular platform yesterday, and some people were saying, I really hope that after this and by the time they conclude investigations, somebody will not come and tell us that there were some documents that were burnt in that fire, or there were some things, no stories at all, because we've seen the track over time. And what is this one again?
Fair enough. Let me just allay the fears of the person who was saying probably they would say some documents were lost, because I had the deputy governor talking yesterday, and he said nothing. I mean, no document was lost except for the damage to the building. Nothing happened. It looks quite a very suspicious one, and it also shows the lackadaisical attitude of our government. I mean, virtually in every parastatal. I am surprised that a state complex could be engulfed in flames, and it took hours for fire service to arrive. Coincidentally, not even the fire service
of the state
operators of the
government.
state. It was a fire service, the fire service operator of the
Organization.
as it were, an organization which the state is at serious loggerheads with
Right now.
you know, just recently, just the day before yesterday, we still had about,
The report.
was it the day before yesterday or 4 days ago, right?
Right now.
You know, just recently, just the day before yesterday, we still had about,
The report.
was it the day before yesterday or 4 days ago, right about now, where the plant was invaded and there were cries of, you know, attacks on the personnel, on the people, on the plants before it was sealed up, and now it's actually. I mean, Nigeria is a country of conspiracies, though yes, we believe that, but this is quite an interesting one. Let's see how it unfolds. Let's just see how it unfolds. A lot of things. Let's see how it unfolds.
All right. So this one, we'll just keep our fingers crossed and actually wait for more investigation from security operatives, because I see no reason why somebody could just set out to do this. And another angle to actually look out on this is the fact that we definitely have security operatives, we have orderlies and what have you in these facilities. How is it that nobody, yes, I know when people want to carry out crime, they have all of their I's dotted and T's crossed.
I mean, for the fire to have lasted the number of hours, it's fun. We are talking about the hallowed chambers of the assembly. I mean, I saw the picture and I was really surprised. I mean, that was a ravaging fire, and thank God there's no casualty reported though, but it's quite funny. I mean, does it mean even in the complex, I mean, at this modern age and time, we don't have fire detectors in such a building? I mean, that would have activated sprinklers at the slightest feel of smoke.
Another thing is, don't we have CCTV cameras in this facility? Because either somebody actually actively operating in the CCTV room, somebody must have seen whoever it was that was planting it before. But
let's not jump the gun. Let's await and to hear the report. Of course, in Nigeria, unfortunately, most times when we await reports, we probably would just have to wait forever.
And besides, things happen every single day, so trying to keep up on all of that.
Yes. I mean, but it's quite an unfortunate one, and it just goes to show how at times we can be irresponsible as government in all we do. I wasn't expecting that a House of Assembly could be raised down just like that. I wasn't expecting that, even if it's a planted explosive, that the person could have done that just like that. I mean, until the havoc is wreaked. I mean, yes, the deputy governor said no document is lost or anything, but let's hope it stays that way.
If this could happen in such a facility, imagine if this building that was set ablaze or burning was just maybe the house of a common man or just anywhere else. So imagine how long more it would have taken for help to come for that person, because I'm just wondering, how is it that we
I say remains, can we say help came? I mean, probably it was just a coincidence. I mean, because I still can't fathom how the plunder had been sealed. You know, where probably the staffs had just been evicted. The ones who, I mean, it was from that same plant that the rescue came from. How were they informed? What's wrong with the fire service?
But anybody would have sent. Anybody could have sent out a message saying the fire. So let's just lie to that.
Ordinarily, I mean, when we talk about rescue operations like that, there are state codes or state dials, national dials that we dial. How was it? I mean, it's all like, even within the state complex, Not far from there, no fire service station.
All of these questions. All right, let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's wait for more investigation from the security operatives on this one. It is 7:45 on Women Radio 91.7. In case you're just joining us, we're getting to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. Be a part of the newspaper review this morning by sending us a text or WhatsApp message on 070 317 565 287. You can listen live via the website at www.wfm917.com. You can also download the mobile app to listen live, WFM917. And we are live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can go ahead. You want to see what I look like? Oh, yes, by all means, feel free. You want to see what the bingo looks like? Yes, because I know I get to see some of the comments that you send to my DM on Instagram. Oh, yes, that's me. That's me. So you can as well just go on YouTube and Facebook and get to see what's going on in the studio this morning. WFM 917 it is. So yes, keep your text and WhatsApp messages coming in this morning. So let's go over this one, talking about the ASUU strike. Now this report on the ASUU strike. Gbajabiamila ASUU strike to be over in matter of days. First, now we're getting to this point and we're going to talk about ASUU strike being over in a matter of days. But did he have to stay this long? Well, just well. Now, this report, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Gbajabiamila, has expressed optimism that the ongoing strike by ASUU will be called off in a matter of days. Now, this was stated after a meeting with President of ASUU and some other people. But he is saying that the president will make a declaration on the no work, no pay issue. And this particular one has been like a bone of contention so far in this ASUU strike and the conversation. But we're getting to see a lot of significant improvement, at least talking about the budget. We get to see this sum that has been allocated to the education and what ASUU stands to gain in this one. So 470 billion naira has been allocated in the budget for this. So yes, now we're asking that ASUU goes back to the classrooms, that all of their demands will be met, and and ASUU is also saying yes, they're ready to shift grounds, but let's just look at how this has played out. We're getting to this point, yes, but did we have to wait to this point? And why did it take the long to intervene before they actually did, that we're getting to see all of these results, Robingo?
I mean, we've had to wait for this long, so probably we just need to move ahead. It's a soothing news that both the ASUU and the government representative, in this instance, the House of Representative, is assuring Nigerians that the strike would be finally called off. And the effect of this strike would linger with us for a very long time. I can tell you for free that some of the students will probably not go back to school, and the time lost would never be regained. You know, fine, the lecturers might say they would double up and cover up what had been missed, but the time lost would probably never be regained by the students affected. It's quite an unfortunate one that it had to drag till this long. But that being said, I think the bone of contention should be, is this need to rest finally, or will this just be another call back to classes and in another 1 year's time, or in another 2 years' time? We experienced the same thing again. This had been a recurrent issue way back, even while I was in the university. I mean, this continuous ASUU strike. I mean, 2009, this negotiation agreement was reached with the other government, with the immediate past governments, I mean the PDP government. But unfortunately, we could see that under Buhari's administration as well, it's also been a common factor in the academic sector. It just goes to show that as well, it's also been a common factor in the academic sector. It just goes to show that the educational sector of Nigeria is not getting the required attention it needs. I mean, for us to say we're going to breed the future generation, the next generation and crop of leaders that should take this country to whatever level we should get to next. We are lagging too much behind. Already, as it were, the quality of our education is not so impressive, as it were, and now even that little we are having in terms of quality, we are being denied. I mean, averagely, a student for a 4-year course now spends maybe
6, 7 years.
8 years in the university. I mean, there are students who were supposed to resume in 2000. That was the year of COVID, and until date, they still haven't resumed for the 100 level. That's 3 years wasted. It's an unfortunate one. Let's just hope that this is the end to such like this agreement that will be reached will protect that something like this never again happens in Nigeria.
All right. So there's a part of this report that I really want us to touch on, and these are part of the words of the ASUU president, Professor Emmanuel Shedeke. So this place in court, and I'm going to just read it the way it is. As we speak today, we're having problems, but we have not noticed it. Noticed this. We are creating so many universities, but there are no qualified people to teach in those universities because the good ones are leaving. We just put our people just in any of this institution, which is not good enough. We must create the environment. So this part, this Gbajabiamila that everybody gets to talk about is affecting all sectors. All sectors. It is really affecting all sectors. Talk about the healthcare sector. We've had medical practitioner leave the country every single time. Go to the immigration office. Somebody's trying to do something one way or the other. Different plans again. I saw a tweet in recent time, and somebody said, stuff like that. So what I just said means that we just get to see people. We don't know who's making plans to travel abroad, and now this is going to also take a toll on our educational system as well, because we have like good hands leaving the country to go look for better opportunities for themselves. Yes, in as much as I want to be patriotic to my country, having to serve here, to give back to the country that's made me or contributed to my life, I'm also thinking about my personal needs, what I have to do, personal development as well.
It's a pathetic story, and no gainsay. Majority of Nigerians, if they have that opportunity, wants to leave. And when I'm talking about wanting to leave, it doesn't affect just the common man. Even politicians, the moment they assume office, the first thing they're doing is they're getting their family, their children out of the country. We saw it happen even to the level of the presidency, where the president's children graduated recently. We saw the children of governors graduate recently, and I can tell you for free that these children, they spend more time outside the shores of the country than they do in Nigeria. I mean, it's disheartening. It's disheartening. It's not just about all profession. No, even unskilled profession. You understand? I told you the other day of some young boys who had to be deported from. You understand? I told you the other day of some young boys who had to be deported from Bahrain, and the Ethiopia that used to even give us free access. I mean, get visa on arrival. But we've been so bastardized right, front, left, and center that we've become. The way we're even treated by the world. I mean, for Ethiopia to have even. The way we're even treated by the world. I mean, for Ethiopia to have even given a ban that, okay, for you to come in, you can only come in with your visa applied for in Nigeria, unlike before that when you get there you can You can learn. It has a lot to tell about even how the world sees us at this moment. And coincidentally, Nigerians are the smartest, most hardworking people you can ever see. It is what it is. Our experts are living in droves. The banks are complaining of losing
Capable hands.
their hands. The medical field is losing. It's not like, it's one thing when people move to go and increase capacity
And come back.
But these ones are not. I mean, the meaning of Jackma is go and never look behind.
Or even if you have to come back, it has to be maybe some family function or something is making you come.
You see, even at that, like, the cost of even traveling alone is enough to even keep you there forever. You just say, instead of me coming, let me send money home for those at home. It's unfortunate. It's breaking our family system. It's breaking our economic system. It's breaking all of our sector, the educational sector, the banking sector, the medical sector, the teaching sector, and everything.
Honestly, talking about family ties, it's really affecting
Of
family
course,
ties.
I mean, the Bible says, at our old age, we will have our children to surround us. But that's no longer the
We
case.
don't have that.
That's no longer the case. You know, it's there's I mean, even the old ones wants to. I mean, old ones that should be in retirement also wants to run out of the country. It's unfortunate, and to think that at times those in government seems not to even take cognizance of this,
those things.
because they feel, I mean, the fact that they can tell us we have the best economy ever, we have the best this ever, we have the best that.
It's not about telling us. Sure,
It's
let's say
I
results.
mean, there are some things. Results of governance shouldn't be shown; it should be felt. I mean, you know, when Nigeria was good, the days of the Awolowers and the likes, the result was easily felt by everybody, and we can only keep hoping for the best. We can totally give up on our country.
Yes, this whole conversation around Japa is actually affecting a whole lot. I saw some tweet from a man, and the man was saying something about how Japa is affecting his own nuclear family. His nuclear family, they are in 4 countries, as it says. He's somewhere else, the wife is somewhere else. He has children studying in some other countries. And I'm just wondering, at what point do these people actually get to come together to bond, to actually feel like a family? So you just get to say, well, I have children somewhere, because it's really hard. I was talking to an undergraduate yesterday, and she was trying to know the process of how she can get her transcript to change her school to some school abroad because of what ASUU has been on like for transcript to change her school to some school abroad because of what ASUU has been on like for months.
The effect of Japa is not only the fact that people are moving, it's also another is what it does to our economy, to our currency. I mean, I wrote IELTS a few times, you know, and for every time I went to write IELTS, it's an industry alone. That money is not coming into our purse. A lot of people get swindled out of their hard-earned money. You know, you do a lot, you eventually spend a lot of money. You go for medicals, you go for this, you go for that. In organizations that picked by probably the choosing country or the choosing, I mean, your preferred embassies. At the end of the day, you realize that all of those things, you pay for interview, I mean, the cost of these things.
So much to pay for.
It's not everybody. I mean, some people will spend about 500,000 hard hand. Some people will spend 1 million, 2 million, get stuck on the way. And
some people don't even get the results they want.
I'm saying, I mean, at the end of the day, it's lost. Some people, they decide to go the hard way, the rough way. They move a bit, they get deported and all of that. I mean, if only we could harness the resources we have here. We have it all. We have everything there is needed here. We have the arable lands, we have the mineral resources, we have everything. We have the human capital. If only we'll just get it right, things could definitely get better for Nigeria.
All right, if only we get it right. It is 8 a.m. on Women Radio 91.7, and this is the newspaper review with Esther Alarabi. And our analyst for the morning is Obideyo Olanwaju. Be a part of the conversation as we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. 070-317-5653 is the number for you to send us a text or WhatsApp message to contribute to the conversation this morning. You can listen live via the website at www.wfm917.com, or you can download the mobile app to listen live, WFM 917. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, WFM 917. So you get to connect with us this morning. Let's take some of your messages here. This one was from Valo Kachi, and this one says, it is good news to hear about the expected end of the ASUU strike. It has lingered for so long due to the insensitivity and irresponsive attitude of the government. We hope that there will be no reoccurrence of this injustice and disservice to our youths and their parents ever again. Hopefully we don't get to see this, and let's just be sure about what results we're making in this one. So we have another message here. We have this message from additional Wasini Kodo, and this one says, top of the morning to you in the studio. PDP started their campaign yesterday. If PDP wants Nigerians to vote for them come 2023, PDP needs to answer some of those questions. And he goes further. Under PDP watch, PDP sold Nitel, Nigeria Airways, Oshobo Steel rolling, Delta Steel rolling, Ascom, and $16 billion spent on electricity, and yet no power. And where is the money? Until PDP answered these questions, nobody will take them serious. God bless Nigeria. We have another message here still from additional ASUU, and this one says, APC and Mr. President has done more in infrastructure. To mention a few, they have completed the Lagos-Ibadan train and almost completed the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. And as of today, Gbajabiamila train is complete. East-West Road are almost complete. Second Niger Bridge is 96% complete. Abuja, Kano, Katsina ongoing, and this current federal government encourage people to go into agriculture as well. So I think they have not done badly.
First and foremost, I want to respond to the person who talked about asking PDP questions. We should not only be asking PDP questions.
Okay.
We should ask all the presidential candidates questions, because definitely there are questions to be answered by all of them. And based on their responses to these questions, that is what should inform our line. And as citizens, we should also be passionate, because everything starts and ends with our politics, with those who are called our politician. Is it our religious life, our economic life, our educational life, our medical life? All facets of our life is governed, is decided by those who make it into political offices. And as citizens, we must be active politically. Last night, one of my friends that we grew up together in my 12 called me, and I had to call him back. And in the course of the conversation, I asked him, well, who are you voting for? Obviously, this guy is even one of the strong men. When I talk about strong, in terms of those controlling the national, the Northway and all of that, is a strong, and obviously the response I expected was what I got. But I had to painstakingly talk to him for about 1 hour. And the beautiful thing is, after 1 hour conversation, I could say I've won in 90% to my reasoning, not necessarily to, you understand, to the extent that he was able to tell me that, yes, it might be difficult to openly go about this, but like, he would still call me today so we can strategize on how we can reorient people. I mean, you are vouching for someone because of someone whose children are somewhere that is a wild dream for you, and we are just there struggling. You are used as a as a mercenary. You are called upon. You understand. You are believing. I mean, it's better when we all have a system that guarantees everybody can win, everybody that tries can win, not a system that unpicks and then commits us before we can even think of winning. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I want Nigerians to know that it is your responsibility to convince at least 10 people
But you know,
that are on the fence.
okay, so this is it. When we talk about convincing people or telling people about your own candidate, there are two sides to it. I think it's just best because some people would see it as you trying to impose your own candidate on them and will get defensive. But having to tell them who has done what this person has done, and be open-minded about
the
it.
meaning of conviction. I'm not
Yes,
saying force.
I didn't understand what you're saying.
Conviction is you have to reel out the points. You know,
I didn't understand what you're saying.
conviction is you have to reel out the points. You know, at times it's just this. There's no other time that evangelism, the word evangelism, comes apt than now. I mean, the politicians are doing it. And unfortunately, their effort is not encouraging. At times, even their effort seems it belittles us as a people. They know how to convince us. They're out to buy us. I was saying the other day of a particular party saying they are sharing AMPAs for the less privileged. AMPAs did not share since.
Well, there's never there's no limited time to do goodwill. So
you see, some goodwills are premeditated. I mean, you bring an AMPA to me, I can see the picture. I mean, on the rodo in it, on the rice in it, on the beans in it, on the gari in it, even on the polythene bag you're using to bring it. I mean, that's invariably what we call
appealing to the senses and
vote buying, as it were. And you even still have the courage to go ahead and tell me that this package costs you 8,000 naira. That means you are giving me 8,000 naira. And then I get that, and you expect my loyalty on that basis. Whereas we've been in government, I hear the story that rats are swallowing monkeys are carrying our commonwealth, snakes are carrying. I'm not asking questions about that. We, the few enlightened ones, are the ones that should make this, because at the end of the day, the fact remains the only people are hungry, the only people are appreciating the stipends. There's so much loose change unaccounted for in our polity that goes round, not accounted for. We talk about budgeting, for instance. Look at what has been budgeted for the offices of the politicians. Look at what has been budgeted for the offices of the common people in terms of budget. Until we start asking the right questions. Now we have a budget of about how much is it? I think about 20 something.
I don't have the figure right now.
About 20 something trillion. And we have the projection that we can generate 9 trillion. And we would borrow how much? We'll borrow the remaining 8 or 7 point something trillion. Do you know what that means? Already we have a deficit debt of how much? Talking about infrastructure, that APC had done a lot. Yes, I had always said that in terms of infrastructure, APC had done a lot. But when it comes to the yardstick of measuring good governance, infrastructure should come last. The one we talk about economy. In a thriving economy, talk about infrastructure.
20.5 trillion.
You say.
I wanted to be sure.
Exactly. In an economy like ours, What's the essence of infrastructure when people can't transport their goods? Matter of fact, there's even no goods to transport anymore. The scale of bandits, the scale of herdsmen,
so many things,
so many people go to the farm anymore. What's the essence of infrastructure in a poor economy where the students are not going to school, where the teachers are home, where the medical facilities? What's the essence? In the grade of good governance, infrastructure should come last, because it is only when the people are secured. This is infrastructure going on in front of us, and how many people have been kidnapped on this bridge? I mean, you can't just by mistake be broken down, and we're talking about infrastructure.
Governance is a continuous process.
It's a continuous process. But when we talk about something being continuous, we are 62 years old. How long do we want to continue? Generation. I mean, the only time we probably would say we've had good change in our policies when we refer back to the First Republic and the politicians. Since then, it's just been like it's been the same over and over. I mean, it's been more of enriching our politicians.
All right, thank you, Lubunko. Let's take some of the other messages we have here. We have this one from Mosenja Mutini Lakber, and this one says, "Good morning, dear presenter. Good morning to you. It is true that a thief can trace the steps of another thief on the rock, but it is not enough reason to hand over the security of the nation's pipelines to an unrepentant militant and miscreant. He may be seen to be doing a good job, but a poisonous snake cannot do without biting. Government is only telling those that went to school to study security-related courses that they don't have plans for them. Bad followers can only produce good leaders." We're going to come back to this particular one.
It's quite funny because what I said is funny. The way our security architecture is being relegated. I mean, it's quite funny. Recently, we heard of the remaining 23
years being released from
victims of the train attack being released. Yeah. Unfortunately, like someone like what was circulating, not one of those bandits died. Matter of fact, they won all through, and as a country, we are actually celebrating the gallantry of. Not a single bullet was for all of their demands. As far as we can tell, they got it. The victims of that banditry at the farm had to borrow money. I mean, some had to go around borrowing money just to release their family and loved ones. And these are probably debts they will probably have to, aside the trauma they have to live with, they have to live with for the rest of their life. And yet, at the end of the day, not a single one of those bandits, not a name, not a person is prosecuted, and we call that success. It's very unfortunate. Now look at all of a sudden, Escravos is popular again. I mean, we have naval ships that are budgeted for every year that are supposed. I mean, even without naval ships, there could be a secretariat, a station where everything could be monitored by satellite. I mean, we heard about the 4-kilometer pipeline tap. The security post to that place, according to the emerging story, is like it's less than 1 kilometer, and somebody comes past through the securities. They are the armies, they are the naval officers. Like a presidential candidate said, this definitely is a conspiracy, because crude oil is not something a common man can steal. I mean, you have to, aside the fact that you have to go through and look at the expertise
that is involved in doing this.
Exactly. Before it was drilled, before it was the connections were made. and like the one you were sharing with me this morning, it takes about a day to 2-3 days for a full ship to be loaded, and yet this had gone on for 9 years. And that's a projection. It could have been more than that. And that's just one leakage. We don't know how many leakage there is.
All right.
And fair enough, the Minister for Petroleum is our president. He should ask questions.
All right. We have this one from Olusoga Ajayi in Korodua. This one says, calling out the strike is one of the good news we've had in a long time. This strike shouldn't have taken this long. The disagreement between the federal government and ASUU will be settled soon. So what really changed in ASUU's demand 7 months ago and today? I knew that the government was about to pressure, but it could have been done earlier. All right, thank you for your message. Mr. OK Monday from Maripo is saying, good morning, WFM radio family. Yes, good morning, Mr. OK. Politics is a game of win or loss. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar will win with all of his team, or will Chief Nyesom Wike and his camp be announced winner of the 2023 presidential election? Chief Nyesom Wike is fighting vanity upon vanity. Okay. Abiola Nikeja says, if Tompolo and his security men can discover oil theft in the Niger Delta region, what are the security operatives doing? No oil ship could pass through Nigerian waters without the Nigerian Navy approval. So they are supposed to secure the security operatives doing. No oil ship could pass through Nigerian waters without the Nigerian Navy approval. So they are supposed to secure the country. So is it said that the same people supposed to secure the country are the same people sabotaging it? Okay. Okay, all right. Mr. Innocent, do you want to send your message back in? You retracted it for some reason, I don't know. All right. So this one, Abiola Nikeja is saying that if Tompolo and his security men can discover and track oil thefts and actually have these people arrested, what are our security operatives doing? No oil ship can pass through Nigerian waters without the Nigerian Navy approval.
It's funny. Tompolo is a known, at a point in time, he's probably tagged the bandits. The likes of Tompolo, the likes of Asari Dokubo, even their citizens, when they see them coming, probably runs for shelter. But today, citizens, when they see them coming, probably runs for shelter. But today, just like we see in virtually all quarters, we saw Togi in the terrorist in the north was being given chieftaincy title. We saw that at a point in time. The state governor said they couldn't apprehend him because he was in another state, whereas we're in the same country where Nigeria has gone all out to arrest some agitators outside the shores of the country in Benin, in faraway Europe. So it leaves much to answer. Here in Lagos, we've seen an MC Oluomo being, even organizing a rally that we are seeing permanent secretaries, we are seeing retired police commissioners now reporting to him, and that's it in the south as well. To him, and that's it in the south as well. We see Tompolo. Does it mean that Tompolo's security outfit, security network, I don't know his qualification, I don't know where he studied security, is stronger? The funny thing is, he is not actually working in tandem with the security outfit. He's like working alone. It is when he makes the arrests that you understand. It's not like he's showing the way. He's giving just intelligence. He's actually the one. He leaves much to ask, what exactly, I mean, why do we have all the ships? Why do we have all the battleships we say we have? I mean, I just can't wrap my head around it. What if tomorrow another faction of the militants, yes, we used to call them militants, what if another faction of them rises tomorrow? They also want to get a contract. How even is it that oil is escaping
For so
with
long.
all the technology? I mean, there's an expectation. Technology has really is the one. There's an expectation that, okay, this should be loaded, this should be processed within so hours. And something that should take 2 hours is taking 3 4 days, and no one is asking question. These, I mean, these are things that ordinarily should be tracked with technology. I mean, are you saying that the pipes that carry our crudes have no
Monitoring, surveillance.
advice or surveillance? We can't continue like this. We can't like this. We can't keep empowering those. I mean, like you said, for those who went to school to probably go and study security, or they would end up being employed by those we're supposed to be. I mean, that's exactly what we are seeing in Lagos right now. That's exactly what's happening in South now. That's exactly, I mean, we can't continue like this. And our fate is in our hand as a people.
Yeah.
We speak through our ballot.
We still have some messages here. We have this one from Evangelist Shegun Udiji, and it says, bless you, Esther. Good morning, Evangelist Shegun. And it says, Nigeria is the only country that celebrates mediocrity and failure. How on earth could a well-endowed axis of the world could be uninhabitable and made hot for its citizens, all because of bad managers who are richer than the country, yet we allow them to flourish? No single social sector is functioning, and the managers have the effrontery to tell us all is well. It is a shame. We have this one here from Becky Nkeja. And Becky Nkeja says, this whole conversation around the Niger Delta and oil theft, I am tired of reading about it, because it seems as though every time an evidence is brought to the fore, we have a way of sweeping it under the carpet and nothing is done. How long do we continue to deceive ourselves for? The same people in government right now, the same people still coming up for us to vote again in the 2023 elections. What exactly is going on? All right. So, talking about these people who were arrested and the oil bunkering vessel that was recaptured alongside these people. Now, there's this report on the Punch newspapers that says officers of the Nigerian Navy in Delta State on Monday have destroyed an illegal oil bunkering vessel arrested with stolen crude oil aboard Niger Delta crypt. And now, so it's gathered that operatives with the newly contracted private oil pipeline surveillance team, Tantita Security Services, arrested these people, this 7-member crew, alongside the captain of this crew. And I'm just wondering, how is it that it is being destroyed, being set on fire? What are doing proper investigation to know the people sponsoring and funding these activities, or how they get to know about it? So, for anybody to have done this team actually have something upstairs. They have something going on. They have like an idea of how. So we should be asking them how. Show us how they are able to carry out these processes, not just destroying the evidence.
I read that story and I'm amazed. Quite amazed. I mean, not only from the angle of the vessel being destroyed, the evidence being tampered with, but according to that story, only the captain is in custody, the others escaped, and I want to believe that I've loaded from Escavos, and to think that this happened yesterday, whereas the leak, the security leak that we've been following about this same Escavos that Olu Philip of Channels TV has been revealing was discussed. Does it mean even after the report was broken, some people still have the courage to go there again to go and take crude? It leaves so much so to wonder. And not only that, on apprehending them in the middle of the sea, they escaped. Escaped to where? Are they such good swimmers? So at the end of the day, it's only the captain that is apprehended, and the captain was saying that he was actually waylaid by gunmen on sea and was diverted to go and steal the crude. I mean, playing the victim here.
Well,
now that's aside, the vessel itself has been burnt. Is the vessel is the vessel by default a crude vessel? I mean, there's so much conspiracy that if one wants to think about it, you want to wrap your head around it, you just might go mad, because a lot of things are not explainable. I mean, I'm a common man. I don't understand how these things work, but as a young boy in my 12 that used to swim in the big rivers, I just can imagine how someone did they escape with lifeboats? How did it happen?
well, then again, these people must have like some kind of system put in place already. So,
I mean, talking about system, I mean, we're still saying the same thing. Whatever that system is, the story is not how they escaped. We only get to hear that they escaped.
all right, Lubinko, we still have some more messages here. This one is from P. Dasa in Ogun State, and it says, good morning to you. APC infrastructure is meaningless when the security and welfare of the citizens are in jeopardy. Better give us security and welfare, and every other thing will definitely fall in place.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Don't be surprised that in a good economy, when we talk about roads getting so spoiled in the inters, when the people are okay, as CSR, you see, I mean, companies will do roads, and even residents will contribute to make their roads at least motorable.
Right.
But not the person we chop will think of saying one do road.
That one said good. We have another message here from Damien, and this one says, by the way, who is Tompolo to arrest the captain in the first place? Is it not disgraceful and insolence on the country? This is the work of state security personnel, and there could be serious uproar in the region before you know it. Another message here is from Mr. Innocent in Wawa, and this one says, good morning, WFM. Good morning. He says, it is said that a goat owned by the public dies of hunger. It is unfortunate that after the Civil War, Nigeria has become national cake, but only the strong can cut from it. Every tribe wants to cut, every religion wants to do same. Even foreigners are cutting more than, and the cake is finished, and now we are borrowing. Does anyone truly love this country? Only time will tell, and that is why we call it a wrap on the newspaper review this morning. Thank you for your text and WhatsApp messages. Thank you so much, Lubinko, for coming in this morning.
Always my pleasure. Always my pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And yeah, there we have it on the newspaper review this morning. Amazing conversations. I mean, it's great when we get to hear from you. You get to share your thoughts on these issues that we get to discuss. We know if we're on the same page, if we're having to see things unfold, if we're willing to contribute our quota to national growth and development, how awakened our people are to these conversations. So I'm going to remind you again, have you gotten your PVC? Do you have your PVC with you? Are you ready to vote come 2023? You want to go about telling people about your own candidates. Just be careful about how you do it so you do not go about imposing on people on who you think they should vote or vote for come 2023. And yes, thank you so much for being with us this morning. At 9 is the news at 9. At 5 minutes past 9 is Panorama with the ladies from different geopolitical zones. My name is Esther Alarubi. Good morning.
Have you been a victim of corruption? Do you want to report how corruption affects you and your community? Send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537.
When you go to the supermarket, you might hear
Current or savings?
savings. Question: how much interest did you earn in your savings account last year? In this tough economy, your savings should be working hard. That's why at Rent Money, your Naira earns up to 16% interest per annum on savings and fixed deposit accounts. Visit rentmoney.com, call 0700 5500 or download the mobile app. Rent Money is regulated by CBN and insured by NDIC. Every